Hi, everybody. I'm Dave,
And I'm John.
and this is Coffee and Capes, your favorite podcast about coffee and geek culture. At least we hope it's your favorite.
I mean, that's a pretty bold
things.
statement to tell somebody this is your favorite podcast. But I mean, we could do the whole this is your favorite podcast.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Right.
This is your favorite podcast.
Right. This is my favorite podcast. You will listen to this.
I said your favorite podcast about coffee and geek culture.
True. Still.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, there's some other good podcasts out there, like all the guys over at Genre Geeks. That's a pretty good podcast about it as well. They're funny.
They are.
And there's some other ones out there too, like Hops Geek News and some of those others. So how about were your favorite coffee and geek culture podcasts?
I thought that's what I said.
Is that what you said?
I thought so. Yeah, your favorite podcast about coffee and geek culture.
Oh yeah, but for sure then. Yeah, we're good.
I'm glad we got that cleared up.
Yeah, we're good.
We want to be. Hey, we're back. We're so glad to be back. We missed a couple of weeks because the Memorial Day messed with our schedules, and then I wasn't feeling well. So sorry you had to go a whole 2 weeks without new content from us.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder, though. So you know, you'll be super glad that we're back. It's like the break in a TV show for the season, although that doesn't always.
We were on a break.
It was weird though. I gotta be. It was weird, like not putting out an episode.
It was weird. I didn't like it.
It felt odd, and I was just like standing sometimes in the middle of my yard, like just staring around the neighborhood, not sure what to do.
No, you weren't.
No. I was like, I don't really know what to do with my hands.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, folks, we're glad you're with us. And whatever way you found us, thanks for finding us that way. There are a lot of ways you can find us, though, and we like to have John run those through.
Yeah, we've got a few different ways you can find us. Obviously, if you found us and you're staring at our faces, you found us on YouTube. So hello. We're on all the social media channels. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, still not the TikTok. We're just not going to touch that one for a while. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, I guess is a thing, Stitcher, some of those other channels as well. And of course, we have the website, coffee, the letter N, capes.com, where you can find us, you can find coffee, you can find comic books now.
What?
Yeah, we are apparently, though, I do want to point out, entering the inventory for comic books is a lot more time consuming than I anticipated. But it's happening slowly but surely. Like, we're getting the comic books up. We've got some shipments that'll be coming in that we're going to add in. We've got some collector stuff that's going to be up soon. So anyway, we got all the stuff there. We redid the website. It's much more user friendly.
At least we hope so. You tell us. Go there and tell us if you find it more user friendly. That's our
also goal. If you are listening to this, if you go to the website and you see the little pop-up does say you can win a coffee and comic subscription for a year. So go to the website, coffee, the letter N, the word capes.com, coffeeandcapes.com, and enter your email information in, and you could win an entire year of coffee and a comic book subscription. That is a new subscription that we're offering. Actually, you can either subscribe to just delicious coffee, or you can subscribe and get delicious coffee and a comic book delivered with it. Because what's better than drinking coffee and reading a comic book? Probably drinking a lot of coffee and reading a lot of comic books.
That would be better.
And then climbing out of the basement. What day is it? Precious. Yeah, this is getting weird.
Yes. When doesn't it, though? That's part of our charm.
It is.
At least that's what I'm told.
Yeah.
Actually, nobody's ever said that.
I don't know. I hope Kevin Costner thinks we're charming when he listens. Hi, Mr. Costner. Thanks again. We've missed you for the last couple weeks. Should we roll into our fan fiction or talk about?
Oh, fan fiction. Sure. Do we have something for fan fiction today?
Yeah. So we posted a little something about Black Adam because the Black Adam trailer dropped this week.
Goodness.
I convinced Dave to watch it literally right before the show. Would you like to give your take on it?
It looks amazing. I'm pretty psyched for this movie, actually, even though my depth of knowledge on Black Adam lore is quite shallow. So I'm not sure what the story is going to be, and I don't think that the trailer didn't seem to give much indication of what the story will be, and I'm totally fine with that. One of the reasons I avoid trailers is because I get really frustrated when you watch a trailer and they give everything away, or especially when they give away the best jokes. And like, after you've seen the trailer, you've seen all of the funny parts that are going to be in the movie. Now, obviously, Black Adam's not so much about the funny, although there was a funny moment in the trailer,
right?
Which might very well end up being the one funny moment in the movie, but that's okay. Like, it did its job. I'm enticed. I want to watch. I mean, I was going to see it anyway, but yeah, no, it looks amazing. I feel like, as you said, John, before earlier, that it seems like they've stayed true to the character and avoided the temptation of making him jokey just because that's the persona that we know of from The Rock in most of his movies.
Right. He's become very family friendly in like a lot of his movies. I mean, granted, he's still a big action star. He's done a lot of action. The last few movies, though, have been like the Jungle Cruise movie, and stuff along those lines, which are Disney products. But I'm glad to see, at least from the little bit of the trailer, that we're not going to get like a watered down version of like Black Adam's personality, because Black Adam is not Superman, like, at all. He's not jokey. He's very serious. Like, he doesn't have a problem taking life. He doesn't want you in his space. Like, his country is his country. You show up into Kandak unannounced and without his permission, and there's gonna be an argument. Right, there's gonna be a fight. So I really appreciate it and remember, folks, if you're thinking you're not going to hear spoilers here and you're like holding off or something, change the channel. So I liked the fact that, like, when he's talking to Hawkman, and Hawkman's like, heroes, like superheroes don't kill, and I do. It's like, okay, yeah, cool. That's Black Adam, right? If they'd have convinced him, like, you don't kill, and he was like, okay, sorry guys, I didn't mean it, can I bring him back to life somehow? Like, no, I'm like, no. So super excited for that. Super pumped for that one to come out. There's a lot of stuff coming, and again, like we talked about briefly, he said in recent media that he is committed to helping rebuild the DCEU for like the next 10 years. All for it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They can use the help in the reboot.
They could. So
yeah.
We're excited about that.
So anyway, to fan fiction, many apologies. So this one's from our old friend Zane. Zane wrote on the Black Adam post, I'm super excited. It's my most anticipated comic book movie of 2022. Huh? Dr. Fate is one of my absolute favorite characters, and I can't wait to see him in live action again. Thanks, Zane, for of course, as always.
Is that Billy Zane?
No. Billy Zane, come on now, it's not the Titanic, man. I mean, we could go down in icy waters, but we won't. So no, we won't. Thanks. Zane's been like a loyal follower and listener for a long time. He's one of the 5 people who listen to us, so thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Zane.
We really appreciate it. And I got to admit, like, all the characters so far in that trailer look just amazing. Like, amazing. They could have done I think we talked about this before. Hawkman could have wound up,
especially could have been
right. Could have looked like the
bad.
Flash Gordon,
right? Yeah,
Hawk guys.
Hawk guys, haha. Yeah, we definitely talked about that before.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. So he looks terrific.
He does. He looks great. So thanks, Zane. Appreciate it, buddy. Yeah.
Cool. I think it's time to talk some coffee.
It is. So today's episode, as you can clearly see from our backgrounds, for those of you that aren't watching, we have Obi Wan Kenobi background. So take a guess at what we're going to talk about today. But before we get there, today's episode is brought to you by dun, 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 the Empire's Roast.
You mean dun 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, we can go on forever. Empire's Roast is like a really good, smooth dark roast. It's my dad's favorite. As a matter of fact, he buys it every single month. Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Don.
But it's a single origin dark roast from Thailand. And, you know, it's got notes of milk chocolate, honey, and a hint of citrus. It is probably one of the smoothest dark roasts I've ever had. Just like it and consistent. It never shifts in terms of kind of like just the bite to it, nothing like that. It really is a super smooth, really tasty, good dark roast. And right, it will help protect the galaxy from genocide.
I didn't realize we had that sort of superpower. That is amazing.
Yeah, you're welcome. Actually, it says it's the perfect cup of coffee when you are expanding a galactic empire, because
that sounds like it might be the opposite of stopping genocide.
You know, it really depends on what side of the construction of the Death Star that you're on. Really kind of comes down to like, that's your viewpoint. If you're on the outside looking in, right, you're trying to prevent galactic genocide. If you're on the inside of the Death Star looking out, you're just a contractor doing a job. You're just trying to help a company grow. Granted, a company
trying to put food on the table.
Just trying to put food on the table, right? And granted, it's a company that has an obscene amount of security. It's some pretty creepy leadership up at top.
Yeah, but we never really interact with them.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, guys,
so much for that. Anyway, Empire's Roast. It's really, really good. You should try some.
Empire's Roast, really, really good. When you go to the website and you sign up to
coffeeandcapes.com.
Yeah, coffeeandcapes.com. You can, again, like I said, sign up to win an entire year subscription of coffee and a comic, and you could have Empire's Roast as your coffee. It's really good. I had a bunch of it this morning, if you can't tell.
Sweet. All right. I think those are all our little segments and propers. Yes.
Yeah. And now
that means it's time to talk about Ben Kenobi.
Obi Wan. I just want to say, like, okay, before we get rolling into this, first, I want to say congratulations to like Ewan McGregor. Apparently, it was the highest watched debut of a show on Disney Plus yet, right? It just goes to show, like, people have been waiting for this one for a long time.
They really have. And let me jump in right here just to once again reiterate, if you are still waiting to watch this, a reminder, as John said a few minutes ago, we are all about the spoilers here. John and I have only watched through episode 3. So whatever happened yesterday or the day before in episode 4, we haven't seen yet. So we'll be talking about the first half. Oh, I thought you said you didn't see it.
No, I've seen it.
Oh, okay. I thought you said
that's why I asked if you had, so I didn't spoil it for you.
Oh, I gotcha. All right. Anyway, we'll be talking about the first 3 episodes because that's as far as I've gotten. You know, where we're feeling, which I think is halfway through. So midterms. It's Kenobi midterms today for us, as it were. But spoilers. If you don't want this spoiled, we implore you to pause now, go watch it, and come back and listen. We'll wait. But yeah, we have no ability or intention to remain spoiler free because we just want to talk. That's what we do. We want to talk about what we've seen and what we like and what we don't and how we feel about it all and all the things. We want to talk about all the things. So you have been duly spoiler warned now.
Our dogs went absolutely nuts. I had to see what was going on. Yeah. So before we dive right in, again, like I said, Ewan McGregor, like, congratulations. That's a big accomplishment. There's a couple things about this coming out that have been a little God, the dogs are going crazy. I don't know if you guys can hear that. If so, I apologize. If you can't hear it, groovy. We have 2 dogs and they're just going nuts because the Amazon guy is outside. So
who doesn't go nuts when the Amazon guy is outside? Really?
I do. So I want to say this. I love our community. Like, geek culture community they're some of the most passionate fans out there, and they have kept this medium alive, and their response to shows and movies and everything else has helped it to grow and become like the kind of the juggernaut that it is in terms of like entertainment. With that being said, it's also one of the nitpicky, like, entitled sometimes, like, and weirdly misogynistic and sometimes a little racist, even if they don't intend to be, because they have this
and sometimes very racist when they and very intended.
For sure, 100%, right? But it's crazy to me because, as we've talked about before, right, this is all about community. Like, all the comic books that we grew up with, it was about diversity and fighting against those kinds of things. Like, Captain America came about to fight Hitler. You got the X-Men to literally fight, in the 60s against racism. The Black Panther, same thing. Right. Like, Superman stood for truth, justice, and the American way, granted, but
also
everybody,
the immigrant story and
the immigrant story, like, everything, like,
right.
So
it's all right there. It's always been all right there.
Yeah.
And it's really, really disheartening to hear about all of the hate response that Moses Ingram got.
Yeah, and I don't get it.
I don't either.
First of all, Moses Ingram, okay, I'm gonna say this. Like, I love to hate her character.
Yeah.
As Third Sister.
Yeah.
Oh my God. She is evil. Like, evil,
and determined. She's determined. Like the other Inquisitors seem kind of sort of
right. She's like obsessed
bureaucrats, and she's like, no, we are going to get this done. We're going to get Kenobi.
Yeah. Like,
I'm afraid of her.
Yeah. She's got a chip on her shoulder. That is the size of a Death Star. Like, she is on a mission, right?
Yeah.
And you can't help but despise her character. There is no redeeming quality about her character in the show. Moses Ingram is a phenomenal actor. Like, just way to go, Moses Ingram. Like, way to like nail that down. And I don't understand the people coming out of the woodwork against her.
I don't either.
I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. What did you think, like, this was all about?
It doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, the whole every Star Wars story essentially has been about the downtrodden, fighting back against oppressive empire. Like,
yes.
How do you not see that?
Well, and she's part of the oppressive empire. Why is
sure, but there's a difference between not liking her character, as you're saying, and like lashing out at the actor with a bunch of horrible racist statements. Like, what is that about?
Yeah. So, I'm a big proponent. Like, I want to see Idris Elba as James Bond. And I can almost guarantee that when that happens, because I've sent a lot of letters and they have to take me seriously.
That's always how it works, right?
Yeah. But when that happens, right, he's even acknowledged the fact that if he were to become the first Black James Bond, the like backlash that he would probably face would be extensive. And
I just don't understand.
Like, the recognition of that, first of all, is sad.
It really is. It's heartbreaking. Like,
yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks. I mean, like,
it's never okay. I've kind of come to expect it in the culture at large, but in the geek culture, like we say all the time, the whole idea of geek culture has been to show that everybody belongs. Like, how do you not see that?
Yeah.
And how do you react with such vitriol and hate? I don't get it. But
I don't know.
Let's say good on Star Wars, good on Disney.
And that's where I was going next. Yeah.
Ewan
McGregor made a statement.
To push back. Yeah. Ewan McGregor with a great little video. Like saying
pulled over in this car after he heard about everything and made a video like denouncing all of those people and saying, you're not fans.
Yeah. Right.
Like, you're not fans. Moses Ingram is amazing. She's incredible human being, incredible actor, super talented. Like,
and his quote was in that there's no room for racism in this world. And whether he meant specifically in the Star Wars world or in the actual full real world, both are correct. I don't know which one he intended, but whichever way it works, and it's correct for both. So yeah.
So we get the heavy one out of the way.
Yeah.
Right. And then the next one is, and this goes a little bit, we can, and this we'll talk about as we talk about the show, but there are people who are talking about there's an incontinuity aspect because they introduced little tiny Leia and Obi Wan, and they're like, but no, because like she does the whole recording of like, help me, Obi Wan, you're my only hope, like blah 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 blah, and says, like, you served for my father during the Clone Wars and yada yada, and they're like, and I just had this conversation last night with our friend Josh. Josh and I were sitting at a baseball game, the Cougars baseball game. Hi, Josh.
Oh, fun. Hey, Josh.
And we were chatting about it, and he brought it up, right? And my response was, oh, man, Dave, you froze. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
All right, cool. So Josh brought up that incontinuity piece, and my response was this, and I'm gonna throw this out there. At no point in Leia's recording does she say, Obi-Wan, we've never met. You served my father during the Clone Wars. She never once says that. Never once. So people are out there like saying, well, there's an incontinuity piece there, but you're basing that off of your assumption of something. It's very entirely possible that they met when she was younger, and that was the way she chose to approach it in the recording and blah, blah, blah. But it's funny because I'm going to go the other way too. I then personally, right, and Josh and I talked about this as well, I have a beef with the Miss Marvel series because she doesn't have the power set that she's got in the comics. Like, they tweaked her power set like right out of the gate. And Josh's counterpoint to that to me was, well, dude, in comics, like, we know power sets like evolve as time goes on. Like, people's powers, like, they get them, they come and they go and they change and everything else. And he's 100% right. I love talking with Josh because like we get to talk about opposite sides of the coin. But my beef with that is, this is her first show, her first episode, and they completely rewrote her powers and how she got them and where they came from. I take umbrage with this.
Well, okay. And in the MCU, you could say the same thing about, say, Scarlet Witch and
I took issue with that too.
Well, okay. But I did. Well, sure, me too, kind of. But I guess my point is there is precedent in the MCU for familiar characters obtaining powers in new ways.
In new ways, yes. However, now I agree with you. However, what is Miss Marvel's power set?
I think that's something we should talk about when we do an episode on Ms. Marvel.
All right.
Let's talk. I want to talk. Let's bottle that in. Yeah, push that down. Push that down. Let's get back to Obi Wan Kenobi.
Obi Wan Kenobi,
I do think, right? Because here's the thing. Anytime you have or here's my take on it. Anytime you have a series that's going kind of back in time like this, you're going to end up with these sorts of issues. So I feel like, I don't know. I guess my take is it just doesn't really bother me. Like, of course, on some level, it doesn't make, like, why have we never heard of Inquisitors before?
We have in comics, but
okay.
But we hadn't in, like, to your point, like the New Hope, like, would there not still be Inquisitors around? So yeah, to your point, right? There's like, a lot of incongruities, but
anytime you do something out of sequence like this, you're gonna, or it's like the, I don't know, later Star Trek movies that are set in earlier times in Star Trek. Well, CGI is better now, so all of the what?
How dare you?
I know. All of the, all the ships are cooler, even though theoretically they're older.
Yeah, because they're not on fishing wire going.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, if they had better technology, then why do they have worse? Come on. Like,
right? Like,
that's part of, to me, that's part of the, you got to suspend some disbelief and you got to suspend a little disbelief on that part and just roll with it. I don't know. I
agree.
I try not to let that stuff bother me on that one. But we've been on opposite sides of this sort of thing before. When we
have, and we will be again.
Sure,
and I agree with you. And it's funny where, like, the ones that I'm willing to, like, forgive, and the ones that I'm like, nope, you have gone too far.
Right.
Like in the Obi Wan thing, I think for me, and I've talked about this before. He's my favorite Jedi, hands down. Yeah. I think he's the most underrated Jedi in all of canon. I think he's long overdue to the spotlight. And you can say what you want about episode 1, 2, and 3, but I don't think he was the spotlight character, right? We know that.
No.
Anakin and Jane Foster were the spotlight characters in that episode, in episodes 1, 2, and 3. And that was fine. Like, you had to do that. But man, I really enjoyed, when I've been so excited for this show, I couldn't care less. If they had rolled it out and the CGI was old Star Trek CGI, I wouldn't have cared. I honestly wouldn't have cared. They didn't, thank God, because I probably would have cared. We're being honest, right?
Yeah.
But what I think I enjoyed the most right out of the gate is we didn't get an Obi-Wan that was fresh-faced and optimistic and happy and powerful, like, as a Jedi would be, that had progressed as a master under, practicing on a consistent, regular basis. He was broken.
Yeah, it made total sense. I really appreciate the way they presented his character in those first couple episodes, because that it tracks to me. It totally tracks from what he went through. And also, I'll say props to Star Wars for really giving us an intensive backstory, or not backstory, but sort of previously on, like reminding us how the story has gotten to this point. Far. Like in that, to start that first episode. Like the story
that was great
kind of thing. Yeah,
that was really good. I liked that they did that.
And it makes sense, like that Obi-Wan would be, as you say, broken and sad and depressed and completely not just unsure of himself, but I don't know,
not willing to stand up for anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
Afraid to, like, stand up for the little guy and make his presence known.
Yeah.
And granted, he had the idea that was because he was needed to protect the boy. Like, it wasn't his job to protect everybody else, right? He needed to protect. And even in that, Uncle, with Uncle Ben, where he says,
Uncle
Owen. Yeah. Sorry. I don't know why I said Uncle Ben, but Uncle Owen, when he says to Uncle Owen, like, I'm here to protect the boy. I'm here to, train the boy. Yeah. Oh, like you did with his father.
Ooh, that was
dig,
man. Yeah, that was a low blow, man.
That's like, you're doing way to take the proverbial, like, light dagger and stick it right through your heart there. Jeez. And you can just see, like, you're devastated.
Yeah.
That's
the word, devastated. He's broken and devastated.
Yeah, he doesn't want to touch a lightsaber. He doesn't want anything to do with it.
I wasn't sure. I think on that point in the third episode when, oh my gosh, Vader shows up.
Yeah, so good.
Oh, so good. Like I wasn't sure he was going to be able. I wasn't sure Obi-Wan was going to be able to turn on his lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like there was that moment when he kind of had it in his hand and he didn't use it. And I thought there was a chance like he had lost the ability.
Well, and so now here's the interesting piece about that. This is where our community came in, and like I started to hear some of the like, oh man, and everybody's like, you know, how could they let like Obi-Wan get beaten down so easily, and he looked so weak, and like all those things. And okay, fair, but what did you think was going to happen? Like he hasn't been, staying connected to the Force. He hasn't been, doing the things necessary. Like he's a broken human being,
right?
He's
his Force muscles have atrophied.
Yeah. Whereas Vader is full of rage and hate and anger, and is coming at him like no ifs, no ands, just super powerful, like primed out. And so I thought that was a very appropriate and well done. If we would have seen Obi-Wan suddenly snap and be like, "Oh, I'm all better now. Let me go ahead."
Yeah, no, that wouldn't have made.
I would have been like, "No, that doesn't work, guys. Come on, nobody goes through that level of like emotional and mental trauma, and then like suddenly stares down their old Padawan, like and best friend and brother, and suddenly finds out he's alive." Right? Finds out he's alive the episode before, and then faces off against him, and you could see he doesn't know what to do. Like he's still torn.
Yes, that's right. He really doesn't know what to do.
No, because he's still like he's heartbroken because he thinks he's killed him.
Yeah.
Right. He's devastated still by the memory of what he thinks is killing Anakin, and the death of all the young ones and everything else. And all of a sudden, like he's face to face with what's become of his once like, best friend and brother, and the young kid that he mentored.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, that scene in episode 3 where Vader shows up on the planet and everybody's just terrified of him, and for good dang reason too. Like he's just killing people for no reason, like snapping their necks with the Force, throwing half of buildings away, like sliding the one hut away to reveal the people there, and then just dragging them along. Like, oh my gosh,
like dragging people behind him by the Force, like with the Force, and then just like like just killing people left and right.
Right. And then like at kind of toward the end of that scene, you see other villagers run to the people that have been left dead in the center and just like holding them. And you're like, oh my gosh, like the pathos of that scene is high, man. I was affected.
Yeah, it was intense. And man, again, Moses Ingram is his third sister. Just
one of the reasons I used the picture that I did here on my screen. I love that scene. I think that was episode 2 where she's chasing Obi-Wan in that
rooftop to rooftop.
Like, yeah, it was so Batman-esque. I loved it. Like even that pose, like that picture right there. She's in that pose. She's on the rooftop and like down on one knee and kind of scanning and just waiting. And like I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, it was good. I gotta say this, like the little girl playing Leia is awesome.
She really is. I was shocked. So one of my original complaints was, okay, that little girl, there's no way she's 10. Like she looks 6.
Right.
Well, I looked it up and she's like turning 10 this month. So, she was probably 9 when they recorded it, or when they filmed it, I mean. So, I guess she is, but it just like at some point that was kind of bothering me for a bit. That was a little I guess you could call that a continuity complaint.
Right.
That,
Sure.
You know, she's supposed to be 10, but you know, she doesn't really, she's acting more like a much younger kid. But yeah, she's terrific and amazing ability to embody the personality and even some of the kind of physical traits of the way Leia was. Like, I absolutely think she's amazing at this character.
Yeah, I agree. And the cast in general and the scenes and the story, you know, it's just well done across the board. Like really, really well done. Everybody's super interesting. I don't think there's been a character introduced yet that I'm just like, meh. Like I can't think of one.
I do like some of the world building they did. Like
Mm-hmm.
originally that with was it the first episode where Ben is going to work, like basically taking a bus essentially to his
Crappy
factory job.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Just working on a line, an assembly line.
Yep. Stealing like a little bit of food.
Yeah, how does nobody notice that every single day? How does nobody notice that? Come on now.
Buddy, that's your thing?
No, actually, yes, but my other thing really is they're just leaving all that blubber or whatever it is that they're cutting just sitting out on the table in the elements. Like, where's the next shift? They're just leaving it out to cut, and like, doesn't it all go bad overnight? Like, what is going on?
No, it just turns into jerky.
Okay.
It dries out and turns into jerky.
Yeah. They're like the whatever
things are different in Star Wars.
Tatooine version of whales are like they're yeah, I guess they are just different. Yeah.
Right, you just cut it up and you leave it out on the table overnight and it turns into jerky.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Okay.
And nobody steals it and no weird sand creatures come and grab it,
eat it. Right. Yeah.
No,
nobody else comes to eat it on this planet, like bereft of food and water. Nobody's coming to eat all of the nice blubbery fat, right? Just sitting right there.
So I do have to say, in the middle of like all of the heaviness that like Obi Wan's dealing with, the interaction with the Jawa was like that moment of levity and humor that just where you got to see like a little bit of him as he had been, right? Not quite as like guarded and protected, little more relaxed. The Jawa scene though, where it's like, well, you know, now that you mention it, I have been having a problem with it. Oh, I have something. If you're gonna steal from me
and sell it back to me,
right?
Be better about it. Yeah. But also in the midst of that scene, you see his paranoia that he's got some little security system set up to let him know if he's alone.
Yeah,
or not,
there's somebody in the home.
Yeah.
Somebody's in his house.
Yeah.
And the fact that he wasn't going to leave to go rescue Leia.
Yeah.
Like that shows you just how broken he was. Yeah. Because in the, you know, in A New Hope, he doesn't hesitate. Like he goes to grab Luke. Like that's his thing. Like he's going to do that. He sees the message. He's going to go help. And in episodes 1, 2, and 3, he's very much like the heroic leader, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
The heroic general. And in the Clone Wars and everything else, like the cartoons, he is always at the front, like never backing down. So to see him toss the idea aside of going to rescue her, and his reason was, I'm just not that man anymore.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not that person anymore. Oh, that was rough.
It was. That was
rough.
Like, make a better choice, man.
Make a better choice. Well, and eventually he does, right?
Sure. Yeah. And I can understand why he needed to get there. Like it again, it tracks
right
with the character and where he's at the moment. But yeah, you're kind of disappointed. Maybe this is it. I'm not used to being disappointed in Obi Wan.
Not by Obi Wan.
Right.
Not by Obi Wan.
Anybody else, man?
I do want to say so there is like one little weird thing that I can't get over.
Okay.
They brought Hayden Christensen back to play Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
and we have James Earl Jones voicing Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So did they bring Hayden Christensen back as like a token, like, hey, thanks, buddy. Like, we get you haven't been working for a while. Like, here, put on the Darth suit and just be the walking, like, just be the physicality of Darth Vader. But James Earl Jones is going to be the voice. Like,
I agree that
it seems
it's off-putting.
It's odd.
It is.
Right? Did you just throw him the work because you wanted to throw him the work? If so, I mean, hey, that's cool, man. Like,
yeah, it is. And I saw a quote from Ewan McGregor saying that, like, the day they were filming that interaction between the two characters, it's like all of a sudden there's all these people on set, like way more people than have ever been on set before.
Well,
because they wanted to see Hayden Christensen come out as Darth Vader.
Right.
Like, it was a huge deal.
Yes. And my guess is, right, Hayden Christensen came out as Darth Vader and said the lines so that they could shoot the scene.
And then have James Earl Jones do the voice later. And then I agree. That is frustrating. Like, it's, oh no, like you said, it's odd and off-putting.
It's odd and off-putting
to have his voice as the thing. But there's oh my gosh, if people are upset about like the lack of continuity or the breaks in continuity, imagine if all of a sudden Darth Vader didn't sound like James Earl Jones.
Oh yeah, people lose their minds.
They would lose their ever-loving minds.
And yeah, they literally like go ballistic and lose their minds.
Like, come on,
they wouldn't know what to do with themselves.
They kind of painted themselves into a corner there with the story.
Yeah, they did, and that's true.
But you can forgive George Lucas in 1976 or whatever, when they were filming the original one, that he couldn't foresee 45 years later.
Special effects from 1976. More like 1968.
Yeah.
And you have to do it like really jerky. I need what I need? I need like a popsicle stick with a little paper like cut out of like a spaceship on it. So I can just be like,
right.
Anyway. So overall, Dave, what do you think of the first 3 episodes?
I think they've struck the right tone and have been entertaining. I know a lot of people have been a little disappointed in the first 2, which I mean, you're allowed to be disappointed in whatever you want to be disappointed in.
For sure, man.
But yeah. I can't go there. Like, I think, yes, they're a little slower, but it makes sense with where the story's at. You got to set up what Obi-Wan's doing, how it's like, how he's getting through his day. I think it's kind of cool to, like I said before, it's kind of cool to be able to see, like, what's he doing on a day-to-day basis? How's he surviving? And how's he not getting caught? And you got to add a little danger. So you get the, here's another continuity thing. Where'd all these Jedis come from that have either been turned into Inquisitors or are being chased by Inquisitors?
Well, and so at the end of like episode 3, right, where they're running off through the tunnel system that's been used by like Jedi before them.
Yeah.
And it's like, where are all these other Jedi? And where are all the other Jedi when New Hope rolls around?
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk about the continuity issue? How come Obi-Wan's the only one that steps up, in A New Hope and says, I'll help you. I'll help get it done. Right. I mean, we know Yoda is sitting on Dagobah and he's there to help finish training Luke so that Luke can take down his father. So we get the epic scene of like, I'm your father.
Right.
No, it's impossible. Luke, you must carry on a long tradition of Skywalker's whining. But I wanted to go do welcome murders. But like, no other Jedi were gonna pop out and be like, hey dude, Obi-Wan's out, he's helping fight that Darth Vader guy. I mean, we could all probably band together and take him. You want to go?
We tried that once. It didn't work out so good.
Yeah, it didn't work out so good, man. He killed little kids and stuff, and that.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my job, cutting.
Yeah, I like cutting blubber. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I don't know.
You're good too.
I guess to me, all those little things, they don't bother me while I'm watching it.
No,
I think of some of them, but they just kind of wash off, and like, I think of it like, well, that's kind of funny or kind of interesting, but it doesn't keep it from being enjoyable to me.
No. I really wish you'd watched episode 4. There's so much that happens in episode 4. So good.
Well, we're gonna have to do a second Obi Wan episode after the finale.
Oh yeah, for sure. And there's so much, man. We got so much material for podcasts like coming up.
Oh my gosh, I know there's a lot.
We got Miss Marvel again. I was so excited for Kamala Khan to get a show, and to further push like the diversity that Marvel has done such a good job with.
Right.
And I'm being super petty about her power set. Super petty about it, right? And that's okay. And we can talk about that, like you said, in a different episode. But I am glad to see that they brought that character to the screen, and I'm glad to see that Disney is putting forth like, all the different diverse characters that we're gonna get. She-Hulk. Really stoked on She-Hulk.
Yeah. I really like that character, and I really, really like that actor.
Yes, she's same. So and I do appreciate, I made a comment that in conversation back and forth with somebody, I was like, oh, you mean She-Shrek? Because the initial CGI in the first preview was a little not great. And it had like kind of that animated look to it that wouldn't really fit for a long term inside of a series. And good on Marvel. I just want to like say, like, way to go and way to listen, because everybody made comments about that, and they went back and tweaked the CGI and like showed it 10 times better, like a million times better. I'm so excited for that.
Well, and it's Marvel. They're not going to do it half-assed, I don't think.
Well, you would hope not, right? But she did look like a thinner, like model Shrek, and I was like, dude, come on, like you can do better. Do better.
We're not here today to talk about She-Hulk.
No,
we're finishing talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I want to say, so speaking of that kind of the Marvel connection.
Yep.
Marvel connection.
Yes.
And green. Speaking of that and green things. Anyway, overall, I would say whatever disappointment somebody might have had in episodes 1 or 2, dude, the showdown with Vader in episode 3 has got to overpower all of those.
Dude, dragging him through the fire.
Oh my God. Right. And just terrifying. And again, once again, a great use of cinematography where like you don't see Vader at all, but you just see his red lightsaber light up. And it lights the scene.
Yeah. And you hear his voice echo, like that James Earl Jones, deep, powerful voice, like in the night, bouncing off of all the different hills. Oh, man.
That's why you had to use James Earl Jones. Like, Hayden Christensen's little voice would not have worked there.
No, it would not.
Maybe my complaint would be something like sort of the stunt casting of Kumail Nanjiani as the the fake Jedi, the guy running the scam.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy for the guy to get work. That's great, but it just sort of, I don't know.
It was interesting. It was an interesting choice.
Yeah, I agree. And he's a great actor. He's a lot of fun. He always brings a little bit of levity to the the character, and he completely remade his physicality for the Eternals role.
Yeah, he was great in Eternals too.
Yeah,
he was one of my favorite things about Eternals
for sure. It just was, I don't know, it's just one of those where it's almost too familiar of a face for that role, and it kind of took me out of the.
See, not for me. I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really nice, like, kind of break in what was like a big tension building like situation, and I thought it was very nice. And I also thought it was an interesting scene because it showed that people were desperate for Jedi. They were desperate to get help from Jedi, and it was easy for someone to go in and take advantage of that. But at the same time, he wasn't like a terrible guy. Like,
right? No, I agree. Like, it's not that I didn't like it so much. It was just weird to me. I guess I'm more just acknowledging that that's kind of and now I'm saying it's kind of cool for Kumail Nanjiani that he's recognizable enough that.
Right. Yeah.
That cameo role, you're like, oh, he's kind of almost playing playing himself in that sense. Like he's playing the character he almost always plays, like a little bit of jokey, a little bit of, but good at heart, but takes him a little bit to do the right thing. Like it was good. It was fine. It just I had a moment where I was like,
I have to say this. I have to say that Obi Wan reignited like my excitement around properties on Disney. I enjoyed Moon Knight a lot. I have to admit though, when Moon Knight ended and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness came out, I was starting to feel a little bit like, okay, I've seen a lot of these lately.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm starting to drag a little bit. Like as a fan, I still love them. I still want to see them, right? But I wasn't as excited.
Yeah, I hear that. And like, dude, so I had somebody recently I heard refer to May as like it's the 100 days of May, because people have so dang much going on in their lives in May.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And you're right, we got hit with so much good content. Well, literally, like right now, we talked about like 3 different things that I haven't seen yet because I just can't keep up.
Yeah,
which is a great problem to have. Great problem to have.
And every channel's got it, right? Because you've got The Boys on Amazon, you got Stranger Things season 4 on Netflix,
and every episode of Stranger Things is 100 hours long, and it takes all day to watch. Dude, which is great. It's a great problem to have, but I can't keep up.
I totally forgot that. Like, I gotta be honest. Like on Wednesday, as Rachel and I were watching Obi Wan, as we were turning it on, I saw the thing for Miss Marvel, and I was like, holy shit! I totally forgot that Miss Marvel was coming out this week. Right. Yeah. So there's just like this endless, and it's amazing and it's incredible. And there's still movies in the theater that I want to see. I want to see the new Top Gun movie because I hear it's just ridiculous. Like we've talked about seeing Norseman,
right?
And we've got exactly like a little over a month before we get Thor: Love and Thunder,
and that's going to be that one. I'm super excited about that one. I think
I'm super excited about that one too.
If that movie does not totally hit it out of the park and be amazing and good and funny and all of the things, I will be super disappointed. I have high expectations for that movie.
I do too. And I think it's the first Thor movie I have had like really elevated and high expectations for.
Yeah.
And I think it's the only one of like the original Avengers group to have 4 solo movies.
That sounds right.
Because you had Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3. Then you had Captain America, Winter Soldier, Civil War.
And really the second Winter Soldier and Civil War were more ensemble movies. They weren't really even solo Cap movies, which is great. Like, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like,
but he only had 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Thor's getting 4th. Yeah.
Thor's getting 4th. I'm so curious now to see what they're building though.
Yeah.
Like what's going to happen next? Where is this going to go? Like, are they going to get Natalie Portman for an extended period of time as Jane Foster, or is this a one-shot deal for her?
Right.
So many questions I have. So many questions. And we've got, man,
all of your questions will be answered.
Yes. And like we talked about, like Black Adam's coming in October.
Yeah.
The Flash movie, despite the fact that Ezra Miller is insane, is still like tracking and apparently screaming well.
Is that the one that got delayed? Like a while back, I read that DC had swapped around the order of their movies.
Shazam. I think Shazam comes out right around the time Black Adam does now.
Like they paired those 2 up a little bit,
which makes sense.
But I thought something got delayed because of that.
Maybe it was Aquaman.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Aquaman, maybe. So I mean, there's a ton.
There really is.
And
so let's say that, dear listener, if you need somebody to say it's okay if you haven't watched it all yet, we're here for you to say it's okay. It really is. We still love you. You're still a good geek fan. You're still part of the culture. You'll catch up eventually and watch what you want to watch and skip what you need to skip. It's okay.
Well, and in all fairness too, on the other side of like to go along with that, I mean, we've got some animated movies too, right? So we've got DC Super Pets coming. We've got another Spider-Man or Spider-Verse movie, but with Miles Morales. But then also on the comic book side, there have been some pretty amazing things coming out lately. And so yeah, to your point, Dave, if listeners, if you're not caught up on watching all the things because you've been,
living your
buried
life.
living a life, you've been buried into like reading all some of the amazing storylines or getting caught up on storylines that you've missed, whatever it is, like it's okay.
Yeah.
Does it make you less of a fan? No. Does it make you less of a person?
Absolutely not.
I mean, okay, it doesn't.
Land that plane, John. Come on.
But at the end of the day, like it's one of the great gifts that I think we have now with the streaming channels is, with Disney and all these things, is that you don't have to like sit down in front of the TV right on Wednesday. Otherwise you don't get to watch anything. Right. And then you're lost and you got to wait for it to come out on DVD or something like that. Like we're past that now, which is amazing. You can wait.
Best.
Yeah. You can wait a little bit. And if you don't want to go to the movie theater to watch a movie, like you can wait and it'll hit Disney Plus or something.
Yeah.
And because they're taking some of these properties and turning them into shows, it's okay if you don't like the first couple episodes, because
give it time.
Give it time. That happened to me with Halo.
Play out. With which one?
Halo.
Okay.
The Halo series, better? Like the first couple episodes, I was like, I don't know. And then I got totally into it and I was totally engrossed in it. Alan, who's Barbell Viking 1988, follows us on Instagram.
Hey, Alan.
Was a little bummed out with how it wrapped, but he's also very into that. Like, we had some conversations via Instagram and he's very, very into Halo. He recommended some good books to read.
Okay.
But he still enjoyed it.
Well, I think to your point, let the storytellers tell their story. And granted, if you decide you're out, okay, you're out. Like that's your prerogative. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I guess what I should say, instead of making a declaration, I'll just say, here's where I am. Like, I want to let the whole story play out before making a final judgment.
Yeah. I can see that.
That said, here we are. I kind of jokingly called it midterms for Kenobi here. Like, are we doing a grade or are we waiting until the end?
No, let's wait till the end.
All right, fair enough.
I'm enjoying what I'm watching so far.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where else they go.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm just gonna say this last little quick thing. As we talk about like what's coming in the future, Taika Waititi has been handed keys to Star Wars movies.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh man, dying to see what happens there. There's going to be a Rogue Squadron show or movie. I'm excited to see that one. So much stuff. And
dun,
for all your galactic empire creating needs, Empire shows from Coffee and Capes. So, and the one thing though I can say that you should never ever in a million years miss is Kevin Costner. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw that out there.
And I will say the one thing you should never ever ever do in a million years is send racist comments to actors in your favorite shows.
Yeah, can we please not do that? Let's not do that.
Jeez Louise.
Be better. Do better.
Yep.
Do good.
I was what I was gonna say before. It is a great time to be a geek. It is such a great time to be a geek. Like, there's so much goodness, geeky goodness out available in the world that, we want to hear from you. What do you like? What are you liking right now? What are you into? Are you watching Kenobi? Are you giving it a chance? Like, what are you looking for?
So you're saying there's a chance.
Saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
All right, friends. Well, it's so great to be back. I'm sorry, John. Do you have one more thing?
I think so, but I don't know where it went. I have no idea where it went. So no, I don't have
Vader force choked it out of you, I think.
Yeah. It's terrifying.
It is terrifying. So good though. Oh my god.
So good. Yeah.
Oh,
so good.
That's like just watching him be physical. There's something about in the original trilogy where Vader's kind of stiff as he moves a little bit.
He's definitely much more fluid and
yes,
moves a lot better.
And moves fast sometimes. Like, there was that moment where like there was a quick turn of the head. Like, that was good. Oh my gosh, I don't ever remember seeing Vader.
No, he turned like
fast. Right.
I always thought, like, is he wearing a back brace?
Yeah. But no, it's just a quick turn of the head.
Find your lack of mobility disturbing.
That's well played, my friend.
Thank you.
Well played.
I do want to say this, along with, so since we've added comic books to the website, right, so that you can grab comic books.
Coffeeandcapes.com.
Coffeeandcapes.com. One of the things that we are doing is we're also expanding who we're donating to. So we are donating to the Hero Initiative now. What's
the Hero Initiative, John?
The Hero Initiative is a foundation that was created to help comic book creators who have kind of fallen on hard times. So all those artists and all those writers that we grew to love, that gave us the epic stories that changed our fragile little minds into wildly imaginative little minds. It's there to help those guys out when they need it. So thanks to everybody that, supports the company so we can support them. And past that, Dave.
And a reminder that, I'll just follow that up with the reminder that every bag of coffee, a portion of that sale goes to Feeding America, which is the largest food bank that we have across our nation. So trying to do some good, create some community as we create some good coffee and send some fun comics.
Communities are built on hope.
They are. Thanks for being part of our community, friends. That's it for this time. We hope to let us know what you think. Let us know what you're watching, what you're reading, all the good things. And we will see you next week. We'll be at ACT next week. I promise.
We will.
Until then, true believers. Bye.
Bye, guys.